tick-tock, line by line, the Mecca Voyager cuts through time, not a circle, but straight as a spine. That's the beauty of linear time. Our barrel rolling, turning the page, over and over, marking each new day. Minutes glide on a track, straight and true. The sapphire windows give a crystal clear view. Battery power, the mechanical soul, unlike the others and breaking the mold. Sapphire windows shining clear, each shower is told by precision gears. Unique design, so wild, so bold, the linear time is yours to hold. Linear time and affordable vision. Mecca Voyager, time told with precision. Not big, not small, the fucking curved case made to fit us all. Linear time displayed with the boldness. You say what quality, then bitch, hold this. Power reserved for 21 days. Metal wheels buzzing and clicking into place. Sapphire windows, how clear they shine, allowing a view into linear time. Linear time and affordable vision.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Spotlight Watch Review. My name is Jim, and today I am incredibly proud to bring out to you something that's so wild and so different that it might change the way you look at watches that are not mechanicals. Now, mechanical is kind of a tricky word because when we think of mechanical movement, our mind automatically goes to these. Hand-wound mechanical movements, powered only by springs, or mechanical automatic movements, again, also only powered by springs. And when you bring a battery into the equation, what do? We don't call it mechanical anymore. Even though there are still gears inside, it's now just a quartz movement. And what I want to do here is present to you a watch that is battery powered, that you really have to refer to as a mechanical movement. And it is something completely unique in the market, just like the two predecessors, the MS1001 and the MS1001 in titanium. Both of these, just like the brand new M1002 MECEXP work on a lithium rechargeable battery. However, they're running completely mechanical movements inside. Everything that you see here is mechanical. And that's why I absolutely love these watches. MECEXP is an abbreviation for Mechanical Exploration, which is the full name of the brand. It is not MECEXP. Their launch model, the MS1001, showed the world the talents of Jason Zhang, the designer and owner who did something that nobody had ever done before. Well, actually, many somethings that nobody had ever done before. And I stand by my words from the original reviews of the steel and the titanium models, where I said that these are the most innovative battery-powered watches on the planet. Now, for each new model, Jason is not just designing a new watch, he's designing a new movement. These movements do a similar function, but in wildly, dramatically different ways. Here, you've got indicators that move up and down like elevators. Here, your time telling is done by a rotating barrel up top and a horizontal rod displaying the minutes as well as the week of the year and the seconds for the chronograph function. And it also has the date display. I'll do that right now. Boop. And that's giving you to what this is set to. This is not set to the current correct time or date. This is the week. And if we zoom in real tight, it thinks today is the 19th. Because again, I don't have this set 100% correctly. But when it is set correctly, that's all you need to do to access your date. These, unfortunately, did not have a date function. But that's okay. Because honestly, I didn't care. But for those that really have to have a date on their watch, and normally I'm one of those people as well, then I believe the MECEXP may be a better choice for you. Interestingly enough, it works as sort of a perpetual calendar. I say sort of because an actual perpetual calendar doesn't have to be set again until the year 2100. Once you set it, you don't set it again for the calendar. It automatically records and it advances what it needs to for leap year. And it will do so until the year 2100, which I think is fair. None of us are going to have to worry about that. Meanwhile, the Mecca Voyager here is set only once every 4 years. Imagine owning a watch where you don't have to flip the calendar from 30 past 31 to the 1st. You don't have to do anything. It takes care of it automatically for you. It tracks the leap year similar to how a perpetual calendar does, just for not as long of a duration. 4 years. As if the movement functions and the display weren't revolutionary enough, all of this is controlled by a single crown. Integrated into that crown is a pusher, and it controls everything. So if I want to set the time, which I'm not going to do here, I will pop up on the screen, however, screenshots of the directions, just so that you understand how it all works. But if I press the crown quickly 4 times within 2 seconds, it takes me into the time setting mode. And then I can set all of these individual settings that you're seeing on the screen. When I have completed all that, it's obviously going to act like every other watch. It's going to run off of the information that I've given it, the input that I've given it, by telling it what time it is, what the date is, and let it carry on from there. And as long as you do your part of recharging your watch, you never have to worry about it. So there's no battery changes. It's a simple magnetic proprietary charging cable that clicks right onto the back of the case here. And it holds the charge for roughly 3 weeks. We'll get back to that in a second. Let's see. Here is your stopwatch functionality. So we're counting off the seconds here. And every time we would get to a minute, this would advance the barrel And now we're done. Now we're back to timekeeping mode. It is 12:05 p.m. And it's as simple as that. Now, I'm going to say this. I do like how the time is displayed here. It's less of a learning curve than the MS1001. Now, I adapted to this fairly quickly, but it still took me a few days. This is much easier. Big giant numeral is your hour, and then your indicator is pointing to the minutes, and it's highlighted every 5 minutes. So it's easier to tell what the teeny tiny little hash marks are if you have bad eyes. You can guesstimate within a minute or two just by glancing at the larger 5-minute increments. So you've got your time, you've got the date, and you have a chronograph, all controlled by this one crown and pusher. The 316L stainless steel case is nicely brushed, and it's nestled into an all-encompassing bezel. Bezel goes all the way around. It's actually screwed together from the back right over here. The black IP bezel wraps completely around this oddly shaped case, which I kind of wanted to call it a kidney-shaped case, but it's not. If your kidney looks like this, please see a specialist. Now, since the watch isn't round, I can't give you a case diameter because, well, that would be incredibly stupid. But it is, let me lay it down here, make it easier. It is 48 millimeters in width and 39 millimeters in its height. So it's kind of a big watch, but not really. Because a lot of the times when we think of a watch wearing large, it's how it feels this way on the wrist. If it's hanging over the wrist bone or something like that. And since this doesn't, it's very squat and compact in that direction, it honestly feels smaller than it is. So I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that fact. I'm the kind of person, my comfort zone is 42 to 44 millimeters, and I think the size is great. It doesn't look teeny tiny and girly, and it doesn't look giant and oversized. The case is very curved, and while that adds a lot of comfort, I find that it doesn't center on my wrist very well. I find that it wants to cock to one side or the other. So let me go ahead and put that on so I can demonstrate that for you. Wearing another funky watch right here. That's going to be reviewed very, very shortly. This is the Special Asteroids limited edition from Nubeo. So sometimes, yeah, I do like a funky case shape. That's for sure. So let's go ahead and get this on. Got to give a special thank you to Jason for creating a watch with a longer strap on it. I have so many watches at this point that I'm using like the second or next to last hole on. It's ridiculous. Now, for my wrist, sometimes it sits either too far this way or too far this way. Now, that's because I have a big, wide, very flat wrist. If you're someone that has a rounder wrist, or maybe you're a little overweight and you've got a big, soft, cushiony wrist, it's not going to give you that problem. I can't say my wrist is bony, but I mean, the bone's right there. It's not like I'm pushing in, 3 inches of flesh to get to it. So for me, it wants to shift to one side or the other of the bone. And I'm not a huge fan of that. When I wear the other MECEXPs, I have no problem whatsoever with how they feel. They fit me absolutely perfectly. So I definitely prefer the feel of the rectangular case of the MS1001 in just the day-to-day wear. Now, I've had this for over a month, or about a month now. So I've done my best to wear it a good amount. I'll be honest, I did not wear it every single day just because of the comfort factor for my particular wrist. But I definitely have gotten to know it and gotten used to how it feels. The taper of the strap feels great. I love the fact that the strap is attached by a T-bar lug, and that gives it more mobility, flexibility, swivelability. I don't know how you'd want to say it best, but it keeps everything nice and short. He's brought that T-bar lug down at the very, very bottom half of the case. So the case really is sitting up on top of your wrist. So if you want something unique that's going to feel as different as it looks, this is a great way to go. Now, again, the lithium battery inside is rechargeable with the included magnetic charging cable. Now, if you're using complications like the chronograph often, then you're obviously going to consume more of the battery. As I mentioned before, under one charge, you've got about 3 weeks of autonomy. But the more you're playing with it and doing different things, you're consuming more of that energy. Now, I want you to keep something in mind here. This is not merely a Chinese watch. It's a groundbreaking new custom movement and time display created by a Chinese engineer for his own brand that's manufacturing in his home country of China. There's a difference. This is not a company saying, hey, we want to make watches that really compete price wise and we could sell a whole ton of units. Let's build them in China where the labor is cheaper, the components are less expensive, yada, 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 cutting corners. When you hear made in China, in particular in the watch industry, there is a stigma attached, of course. And I want to separate that from this brand because it's not that same situation. This is a man who is Chinese, who has developed everything that you see here, from the case design to the movement, everything, and incorporated things like the rechargeable battery with the magnetic charging that nobody else is doing outside of maybe smartwatches. That's crafting these beautiful, curved, custom cut sapphire windows. And he's doing all of that in China. And they're not hiding it. They are certainly very proud of their heritage. And it's listed right there, China made. Now, if that bothers you for some reason, cool. Then don't buy it. If you want to make everything political, because everybody does nowadays, that's your prerogative. It's your money. You spend it how you want to. Me, I want good quality at the right price. And if I can have something unique and completely innovative that I can afford, then that's even better. And that is precisely what MECEXP is offering. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what else Jason pulls out of his magic bag of tricks, because the engineering that he's putting into his designs is absolutely amazing. Now, my final verdict on this is I like the watch a lot. However, I strongly prefer the freshman models. They wear more comfortably for my particular wrist. I found them far less complicated to set up. This is not easy to set up. The first time you go to set this, you're going to be frustrated, I assure you. And I want to give you that warning because I think it's important that you hear the good with the bad. And yeah, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to want to throw this damn thing across the room. Please keep in mind there is a fully detailed, very, very thick instruction manual. But beyond that, and this is going to be your new best friend, and you could even probably activate this from watching the video here. Hit that QR code because you're going to get walked through the entire process of setting this watch up. Now, again, the great thing is once you've set it, you're not really gonna have to mess with it all that much. So set it and forget it almost. Just make sure you recharge it every couple of weeks or when you see the red flashing. It's going to operate similar to this. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been a blinking red light inside of my stainless steel MS1001. Boy, I wish this watch had a name. It's kind of a pain to say MS1001 every time. That is the low battery indicator letting me know I need to get this on the charger immediately. This will do the same thing. But that's another thing that I prefer about the originals is the fact that you have a backlight. Now, how important is that going to be? Let's take a look here. Let's break out a flashlight. And we're going to see what kind of lume we're dealing with here. So as you see, everything glows. On all three watches, you have plenty of lume. But for me, I would much rather have a backlight. A backlight so strong, you can actually see it in the daylight. I honestly, truly wish this had the backlight and it would move it up a couple of pegs in popularity for me, for certain. I really like the backlight. It dramatically reduces your battery life, but that's okay because you're just going to recharge it anyway. If you keep the charging cable next to your bed like you do with your phone, then it's no big deal whatsoever. You can drop it on there nightly. Would I suggest this to the casual collector? Not really. These aren't released yet, but I'm going to assume they're going to be around the same price as the original offerings, which is around $350. That certainly makes it affordable for almost everybody, but I don't think this is a watch for everybody. I think you're going to want to be a collector, someone who really wants wild, new, different things all the time. You're not satisfied with the standard everyday watch anymore. You want something a little special, a little bit different, and a watch that's certainly going to be a conversation piece. This watch is going to be that. For you, I would absolutely suggest it. You're going to own a piece of history here. And I'll tell you this, if you have the ability to afford it, if you're buying this and you can afford it, buy one of the originals as well. As I promise you, you're going to be completely blown away. And you're going to be wearing a battery-powered watch far more often than you ever thought possible. I used to be one of those guys, I would only buy mechanical or mechanical automatic watches. That was my personal preference. And then a couple of times, I found a quartz watch that I would fall in love with. And I would buy it, and I'd be perfectly happy with it. I even got into a few digital watches. Why? Because of the Casio G-Shock line. I'm a big G-Shock fan, and I have a modest collection of G-Shocks. By the way, if you guys ever want to see me talk about the G-Shocks, let me know down below. I've been hesitant to put that content out because it's such a broad category that so many people have talked about. I don't know if you care to hear me talk about them or not. So I've learned to appreciate a lot of different things about watches, not just the fine horological aspects of a well balanced mechanical movement. I still prefer that. But I tell you right now, when I wear these, I am every bit of as proud of wearing these as I am of a watch that costs more than 10 times as much with a fancy mechanical movement, because these are just spectacular. And nobody's ever seen anything like them. I guarantee wherever you wear it, if there's a watch person around and they comment on it, the comment's definitely going to revolve around, I've never seen a display of time like that before. That's wild. That's cool. Where'd you get it? How much is it? It looks like it's unaffordable. But instead, Jason has priced these to make them accessible. That's why I think this is going to be somewhere around the same price. I don't think that he's going to go nuts and all of a sudden double his prices. I apologize, by the way, if I'm wrong. If history proves that I'm an idiot by saying that, I'm sorry. But I don't see that happening. Because he seems like a genuinely nice guy that loves watches. That he's not doing this just because it's a business opportunity. It's because he loves time telling. He loves the engineering aspect of what goes into making these movements and these watches as a whole. And he's obviously very, very talented at it. So that's my thoughts on the Mecca Voyager. I think it's wild and it's cool, but I still think these are a little bit cooler. And I think they're a little more practical. They're easier to wear. This is easier to read at a glance when you're not used to looking at non-traditional dial work. I'll say that as well. So that's a benefit that this has over these. These, yes, there's going to be a learning curve. I don't think it's very bad. But I also do notice if I don't wear them for a couple of weeks and I'm wearing, some of my more traditional style watches and I go back to it, it'll take me an extra couple of seconds when I glance down at my wrist. Perfectly honest with you. So this one is going to be easier on that. The thicker, curved sapphire on both of these crystals make this particular watch feel a little bit more premium. The heft and the weight of this case also does that. Not that these feel inexpensive in any way, but anytime you get into titanium, titanium is so incredibly lightweight that it has a wildly different feel than steel would. But there's something very premium feeling about everything on this, and the finish work, everything is just, well, darn fantastic. I really can't think of a bad thing to say about it. I do wish it were easier to set up initially. And when you're first getting used to it, it's going to take you a little while to remember, like how many taps of the crown to get into this feature, into that feature. But once you get past all that, it's like getting a new car. And it's got a million buttons inside, or God forbid, one of these EVs that have like no buttons inside. You have to reteach yourself how to operate it. And it may take you a few times driving it to kind of get the hang of it. And that really is how this watch works. Once you get used to it, you will be in love. And when you're showing it to other people, watch their face, because they are going to be kind of amazed at what you're showing them, because they've never seen anything like it. And how cool is that for you to be able to do that and not break the bank doing so? I think it's pretty darn awesome. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this watch. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you do get one of these, please come back and let all of us know how you feel about it. And let all of us know if I guided you in the right direction, if I gave you the right warnings, if hopefully I didn't discourage anybody. But There will be people that this watch just was not made for, that I do discourage you from getting it. But I think for most watch lovers and watch collectors, you're going to fall madly in love with this the very second you open that box, just like I did. And once you get into this brand, I think you're going to be a fan for life. And that's hoping that they continue making a new model every so often. Because if they stop now and we don't see a new model for 3 or 4 years, they're going to learn the lesson the hard way, like so many other brands have, that people forget about you. The market forgets about you. No matter how much marketing you do online with your old stuff, people want new. As long as they keep putting out a little bit of new every now and then, I'm going to be right here for it. And I'm super excited to do it. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me as always, and I'll see you on the next video.